morning. Welcome to Tuesday edition of the number one breakfast show on television, and that is Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Webwanisho. It's good to be hosting you on today's edition of the program. With me in the studio, I have a political economist, Ali Williams.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on
Thank
this
you.
program. Thank you so much. So, without wasting much time, we are looking at all the papers we have for review and discussion this morning. Let's first of all have a recap of the major headline stories of these papers, starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership is leading with the story on PDP, and incidentally, is a story that is making all the rounds on today's papers. Let's start with Leadership. Leadership says PDP crisis deepens, confusion trails IU's suspension. PDP crisis deepens, confusion trails IU suspension. Board bars national chairman, ward executives disown suspension letter. I will get injunction to vacate court order, IU vows. The war has just begun, says Wike. PDP crisis deepens, confusion trails IU suspension. Board bars national chairman, ward executives disown suspension letter. I'll get injunction to vacate court order, IU vows. The war has just begun, says Wike, that is the governor of Rivers State. Now, let's see the points at issue enumerated by leadership on its cover. One, Iyorchia Ayu became PDP chairman on October 31st, 2021, as a consensus candidate at the party's national convention in Abuja with 3,426 affirmative votes out of 3,511 accredited voters. Two, Ayu's problem, however, began when Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike lost the party's presidential ticket to Atiku Abubakar, whom Ayu backed on May 28, 2022. Wike says the war has just begun. Thirdly, in a repeat of Uche Secondus' fate, Ayu was purportedly suspended by his Igiro ward in Benue State on March 26, 2023. Some ward executives have disowned the suspension letter. And lastly, which is the fourth point at issue, a court order has restrained Ayu from acting as PDP national chairman. He has vowed to seek injunction to stop plot to remove him. The fight still continues. From leadership, we have the punch. The punch says, Ayu must go. It's a replica of Ali must go. We heard years ago. G5 governors Atiku campaign clash. Ayu must go. G5 governors Atiku campaign clash. Benue court affirms Ayu suspension, adjourns case till April 17. It's morally offensive for Ayu to remain chairman after electoral defeat, G5 camp. Only neck can remove me, Ayu. Wike others selfish, says Atiku presidential campaign committee. From the punch, same story on the nation. The nation says court order restraining Ayu deepens PDP's post-poll crisis. Court order restraining Ayu deepens PDP's post-poll crisis. National chair dismisses suspension. Wike backs action. Court order restraining Ayu deepens PDP's post-poll crisis. National chair dismisses suspension. Wike backs action. That is on the nation. This is the same story. Ayu, only PDP neck can suspend me. Those golden word expo are ignorant. Ayu, only PDP neck can suspend me. Those golden word expo are ignorant. Wike support suspension, says chairman should have left. Court restrains party's national chair from parading self as one. Aliyu, what is happening here?
If you look,
Post-poll crisis, instead of the party to rally around and take stock of what just happened in the just concluded elections, although there are still some few supplementary ones to go, and yet they are at each other's throats.
well, if you look at even the riders, because I try to look at the riders of most of the captions, one says says he has lost membership through suspension.
Yes,
That's what
yes, and
actually
before
brought.
you go that
Right.
is the way Blueprint is good taking it. PDP crisis, Oshomole scenario looms as court halts Ayu's leadership. And you know that is exactly what happened. You know, Shomole, then APC chairman.
That's how it
He
happens.
was
You know,
also
they
suspended.
will just
with
go
his
to
one level.
the lower level itself
And
and start from there. But if you look at the issue of IU
Mm.
critically, you see
Yes.
that after the election, he also move ahead to give suspension to some leaders, to some part of their
Yes,
leaders,
yes.
and Pius, Pius,
And
what have you.
Orton,
I think that's
to
what
face them.
aggravates they think if they allow you to go further, looking at the power that is with the G5 governors, they think the best is to let him go. So, but as it is now, it's a big issue. Now, because if you look at the scenario too, this is what actually happens to second those two.
Yes.
And it's just anchored by the Wike, the de facto PDP, Wike itself. So the thing is, for me, I think PDP needs to be very, very careful. If they are not careful, they may possibly become third, not the second. Labour Party may take advantage and become the opposition party because having lost since 2015, 2019, and back to back now, it's becoming much more issue. And even the state they are governing, I think Autumn has lost the state, Tambua as well. So if you look at those things happening, it simply means that PDP needs to quickly go back to the drawing board and come out strong. Perhaps it will IU could be sacrificed for these two because if you look at it, they need to start all over again because of disaffection that is already there with IU. It simply means they need to do something very. Perhaps if the Umar Ilya Damagum, the vice chairman, not they lay claim already that is the chairman because court has actually said IU should not parade himself as national chairman.
No, the question I want to ask is that this was this issue just before the election, and that was why there was no cohesion just before the elections, and now after the election we are still having the same scenario. Can PDP stand and to be in opposition in the next 4 years?
But the fact that remains that
will it stand? Will it still exist?
Yes, the fact is that a divided house before the election,
yes.
And after the election suspension came in. Now the chairman is suspended. If you ask me, I think there is a bigger issue to solve. And if care is not taken, like I said, by the time they resume the National Assembly, people from PDP who has a mandate might even say because there is disaffection in the party progress to either APC or and you agree with me that as a party person, once you're a National Assembly, everybody wants to belong to where they will benefit because that benefit comes forth for a Nigerian politician.
Yes.
So these are
personal interest.
Personal interest. So if you look at it now, according to IU now, is going to court to vacate the order. But the thing is, vacating the order and the disaffection already, and perhaps the man from those vice chairman or deputy chairman may want to take advantage, and you see what happened during even second dose where Akin Yemi from Southwest also laid claim, he began to do a lot of things, and before you know, the second dose gone for it. So I think what really happened, but if I am to really advise PDP itself, it's not cast in stone that the party chairman must be IU, because if you look at it, you have maintained this person over time and you have lost the election. Perhaps they are even also laying claim that he could not even win in his unit, political unit. He lost out in ward, lost out in local government, and the state also lost out. So it's a grand for them to say, no, we do not want you as our chairman going forward. Perhaps at this point in time, they also need to come strong. And coming strong, we need to change some leadership and come out strong. And PDP itself need to work very hard so that they will not lose more. Because you know that PDP have more chance in some states. We are looking at some states like Ogun State. If you look at the gap between PDP candidates and the APC, it's very, very small. It's very small. So if they come together, there's cohesion. They can have a better front, go to court, and contest.
We're also looking at Adamawa.
Adamawa itself. No, I think Adamawa is. Well, for me, let me not preempt the election. Let me not preempt the election, but 31,000 lead
Mm.
is not a small number.
Mm.
You know, it's not a small number. And if you look at what you want to fight for, it is for the two party as well. So they
Now,
have much chance.
now that the PDP is embroidered, the crisis PDP was embroidered just before the election still continues, and Ayu does not enjoy the how do I call the confidence of other, as well most of these G5 governors, although Benue is out of it, and which other state?
Lesotho,
And
Abia.
Abia too is also
Abia is
out
out
of
of
it.
it. Yeah.
And you know, most we all know that most of these state governors, they are the ones that actually uh,
Determine
fund
what happened.
fund
Yeah, the fund
this one.
party.
So if Ayu does not enjoy the robust friendship from these governors, how does he not intend to stay there without funding? How does he want intend to keep the party afloat
No,
without the support of this?
well, possibly you could still get fund, but
Because everybody knows
the only problem is that
Wike
Wike
was
and
a
co
big financier.
would deepen their own interest in membership in the PDP member, and there will be much uproar to let IU go. So IU is at disadvantage now.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
IU
That
at
so how
disadvantage.
does Ayu intend to still hold on when he knows that if he does not enjoy the friendship, the robust friendship of these people, how is he going to enjoy
Well,
financial support from
I
them
think
to keep the
I
party
wouldn't
afloat?
want to look at this trajectory, but I think he's still holding on to Atiku support. However, in the culture of Atiku,
I think
after
another
election,
party from
no,
the
well,
support.
you can't say, but they may still have one or two governors to support them. You know, they may still have some senators to support them. But in the culture of Atiku that is even looking at Atiku, for me, from what we know from history, he sold you for Dubai. And by the time he left for for Dubai, and go and check him very well. Whoever has case in PDP, Atiku always, try to. You won't come to fight for you. So I think what Ayu has enjoyed and lasted up until the election. So after the election, I think Ayu will have to carry his own cross. Consequently, it is better for him to just
And
resign and
Yeah. And
go on
especially
holiday.
as they have a case in the court, in the tribunal, they are appealing the declaration of
Presidential election,
presidential
yes.
election. And now the house is divided. So how are they going to present a common front?
Well, the fact is that it must not be this IU that continues everything. It's a political party with structure. So whoever emerged after IU will still continue the fight, because you know why? They must continue to fight hard to be relevant.
Yes.
Once they try to lower or slow down, they will be knocked out, because for them to lose back to back up to this extent, it's a very serious issue. And for them to form a formidable party, all these you know that Makinde won in Oyo State,
Yes.
PDP,
Yes, you
Rivers, and these are bigger states that can really support. So they need to sacrifice Ayu if it's possible. Ayu go,
But
then they bring someone
the
else.
presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, is he willing to sacrifice Ayu this time around?
Like I tell you, in the culture of that I know, he will not even stand by Ayu. I think the business has
It's just
ended, so Ayu have to
by himself.
move on himself. And perhaps you have been a party chairman and you have also contributed your quota. It is not bad if you let go, because definitely with this the way case is going now, is going to affect. Though there's a lot of denial that the purported suspension was forged. It was a forged signature, but there's a iota of you must go. It's like Ali must go, like you already mentioned that Ali must
The
go.
one that carried it years ago, and it's still led with almost the same.
I must go. I think even lower members of PDP, they also want Ayu to go, because it doesn't allow cohesion just in the party. And when there is no cohesion, they cannot have a common ground. Now that very soon there will be the National Assembly will come, they will want to fight for something. If there's no proper coordination, which has to be led by the national chairman, it will be a big issue. So and that's why I said I know that until Ayu vacates the order, the Damagum, Omar Ilya, the Damagum is still the one in charge. And remember, it's from the north. So these are the things, and they will say yes, it's not bad like that.
Alright. Now, just before we leave in PDP matter, I want to ask, now that PDP, with PDP's building fortunes at the polls, Nigeria, we no longer have a robust opposition party.
Well, you wouldn't say we don't have a robust opposition party until National Assembly starts because that's where it's actually exposed their strength. Perhaps the in National Assembly in Senate, uh, Labour Party has about 40, right? No,
Okay.
it's up to 40.
No,
No, they have
Senate, they
seven.
have
They have,
six
they
or
have
seven.
seven. They have
Yes, seven.
seven, and that's a small number.
Mm.
So definitely they are total minority there. Then for House of Rep,
Yes.
the thing is that it's beyond even the number you have, but about politicking. So if PDP can continue that experience that they have and start politicking, they may even woo some people. That's why I said leadership counts.
Mm.
If PDP is very very organized for now, you can see who more Labour Party, other parties, then they will be working hand in hand and have it for because this is our democracy. To have a good democracy, we need a formidable opposition that will always put the ruling party on check, both in the executive, in the assembly, and what have you. So if they put them in a good check, it will help. And all pending cases in court, if you don't have a good leadership, you may not be able to give a good fight of it because party structure does a lot. And as it is now, PDP is still the most experienced political party that can bring a lot of things. But if they didn't come together, I think PDP is going gradually to oblivion.
All right, thank you so much for that. We are still talking politics, and related to that is the story on Vanguard newspaper. It's actually leading with that story. State Assembly polls 9 days after INEC goes on to results in 183 constituencies. State Assembly polls 9 days after INEC goes on to results in 183 constituencies. Adamawa, Yobe, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna top states with awaited results. APC leads in battle for state legislatures with 421 seats, PDP 303. Labour Party, APGA, NNPP, YPP, SDP, ADC win slots. INEC fixes April 15 for supplementary governor NAS State Assembly polls. 9 days after INEC goes on to results in 183 constituencies. What do you have to say about that? And there's still some talk too that most of the presidential polls have not still been uploaded to their IREV.
Well, the fact
And sorry, it's the same story, sub story, cover story we have also in the Nation. The Nation say supplementary polls hold April 15 in Kebbi, Sokoto, Adamawa.
Well, the fact is that I actually monitored the election and going to the field, you see that beyond what people talk every now and then, though we've seen INEC who promise and plan and organize every other thing that they are going to get the best of the election. But when it comes to presidential, because I personally ask the INEC staff in most of the world that I am that people should upload the results to INEC. They say no, they say until we get to this, until we get to that. That's not how it's supposed to be. Because having given us our own copy of the election, so you have to do that. And I think that's what really causes a lot of the disaffection from people that led to different court cases on the presidential election. But on the state and governorship election, we will agree that INEC actually performed well compared to the presidential and national assembly. But the thing is, we even expect a rerun. Remember that INEC has actually planned for that. And apart from that, we expect even more challenges compared to this. Because if you look at we only have April 15 now set aside for the where we have challenges in the election like Adamawa and also no, Kebbi. I think Kebbi, Adamawa, Kebbi. And if you look at Adamawa itself, yes, Sokoto also. If you look at Adamawa itself, you see that the case of Adamawa is quite interesting. You see, lady, women have been canvassing. She really give a good fight for the governorship office. But the thing is, the gap between two of them is about 31,000. And if you look at the gap, it's not. I don't think it's what
from IREV quarter, because at the end of the day, INEC wants that nobody should calculate result until results from
IRF.
IRF.
And that's another argument Nigeria should begin to establish.
Because that's exactly what played out in what you're just saying in Kaduna State. Why some Kaduna people were already, PDP enthusiasts were already rejoicing that the votes they've calculated so far. That
But by the time they declare results, I think we have to move our
although INEC said it's
electoral.
going to review.
Yes, we have to move our electoral law beyond where it is now, whereby that the back end,
Mm,
every party agent should be at the back end as well
mm,
of the INEC. That will curb a lot of things. When we go at the back end where the IRF is bringing everything up, we believe that the collation is proper. But now no party agent is at the back end. INEC will just come up and say this is what the IRF says. So if at all we did not investigate it at the beginning or the conceptualization of the pattern now, but I think that should be another thing that we should consider. Because if such things are allowed, there will not be contestation after every election.
exactly.
Even court issue, will reduce because it is because I'm not confident. That's why I said I want to review. I want to go to court for for another review of the election. But if they allow people to be at the back end, every party agent have their people, they sit down at the back and they see how things are coming,
Yes,
how the things. So they will be sure that
the process
it is actual, yes, clear and whatever. So for Adamawa, I think it's a good fight, but I think after the election, we'll
as
see
you just mentioned Adamawa, and
Right.
that is what Blueprint also has above his masthead. Said Adamawa Binani petitions INEC urges review of election results.
That's what I'm trying to say.
PDP raises the alarm, accuses APC of plot to manipulate results. Adamawa Kebbi rerun polls hold April
It is
15th.
expected.
Just like what you said, you just mentioned it, and then my eye went like,
Okay.
the difference you saw is much. Obviously, that is.
Well,
and
the
that
fact
is-
remains that if you listen to Fintiri said they are about to rig him off. He's agitating and said even Binani is the one that caused the trouble where it is. Why Binani also said they actually rigged and it is expected from the two political side. But let's wait for INEC to declare the actual winner after the poll. And for Kebbi too, I think APC is leading also there.
So how would you assess the process? INEC the election so far.
Well, like I said, when I monitor the election, we monitor so that we can really understand and be able to contribute to the process of the election. What the beavers actually performed excellently well. Everyone is accredited. In fact, I had the issue that day because someone came with not card, the other voters card, PVC, that is not a card, the paper one.
Okay,
And I
yes.
was just surprised on what happened because I was saying no, but the INEC staff they had to put a call through to their coordinator and they said that person can vote. Can see court later said they have rights to vote. But in terms of the process of beavers captured very well, and the rate of failure was very, very minimal. In fact, if they didn't capture you,
so it was a human partner.
If they didn't capture you at the initial, they'll say wait a bit. In the next 5 minutes, they would have continued to capture others, and they'll still come back to you with actually. I think where disaffection was the IREV. We expected it to be uploaded. Exactly, that was the problem. And another thing is that there was little voter inducement. Before
so
now.
You say that the Naira's
Scarcity, that's the one of the advantage that we could say we achieve from Naira scarcity, because if it's before you put bundles of Nairas and once you vote they give you the money, but during this period, in fact, and that's what really led to low voters turnout. Because people are waiting, like, if you don't give me money, I will not vote for you. So that really reduces the.
But in the center where I voted, I saw the turnout was quite much.
Okay, it depends.
Yes.
It depends. What part of FCT is that?
That is a neighborhood.
That's the center.
I said, what's happening here? Because the last time, 4 years ago, it wasn't as much. And people said, there have been new registrations for people. And that's, it's true.
No, it's also reflected. If you look at
neighborhoods.
No, election pattern for FCT. FCT is always known for PDP. Even now that things change. So a lot of people came out to say no. We must really vote, and this is what we want. But in terms of the processes, I think they have improved on a lot of the processes and they have invested in the technology. But I don't really know what happened at that point in time. And I think it's lack of information. Because people that we are with, we are telling them that they should upload. They said no until they get to the
Nothing we
collation
directed
center
me
and whatever.
not to
Which,
upload.
so for me, I think they are informed not to upload
Yes.
because some of them said they don't have internet, they don't have this.
We gave
Apart from that,
access.
we said we can even share internet with you. They said no,
Yeah.
they cannot upload. You get, they cannot upload except if they get to the collation center. So for me, the process was very, very okay. And another thing is late. You know, a lot of materials
Yes,
came very, very late.
yes.
I think that's another thing that we need to consider. And it also affects the time of closure. You said anybody that is on queue at 2:30 can still vote. Another thing that also causes problem in the process is that some people went to their former polling units.
Yes,
They
we were
never
told.
knew that they have
They have
relocated them. So
another one.
and some say they got SMS that they have been relocated, but some people never got. So before some people will come to us around 3 to look at. So I was here, but they cannot join the queue at that time again. So I think that's another thing. So the logistics must be better. Then I also want to advise if we can even unbundle INEC further.
Okay.
Because if you now have a unit that is only responsible for the uh, logistics, it will maybe relieve INEC of kind of that area and focus on collation. If logistics is different from collation, you see that, but they are the one in charge of this, in charge of that. It will bring a lot of issues to them because it's quite. If you remember that it was in 2019 we have to even shift election. What 2015 we have to shift election. Because of the logistics itself. So I think we need to look at logistics very well and take it serious because it's part of the process and it's mass. Some people wants to they are not at the I expected the polling unit at 11 o'clock. Some people will lose interest and they will prefer to go home. So that was it.
All right, thank you so much for that. We are going on a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing other issues as well as making the rounds on today's papers. Don't go away, stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the program is Inside Nigeria, your number one breakfast show, and is reaching you on leadership television. With me in the studio is our political scientist, Ali Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And my name is Winnie Fodogo. We are looking at a developing story on this issue of cash crunch in Nigeria. How far? Because the CBN governor did assure that they were supplying or disbursing all their notes to banks over the weekend, and so that to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians. Let's see the situation presently. Leadership is leading also with that same story. Naira scarcity persists as banks continue disbursement. Naira scarcity persists as banks continue disbursement. On Vanguard newspaper, we have a cash crunch and Ngige weighs in means NLC CBN over land strike. Cash crunch Ngige weighs in means Nigerian Labour Congress CBN over planned strike. This day says NLC leadership meets to decide on nationwide protest today. NLC leadership meets to decide on nationwide protest today. I mean, what is the situation on ground? Because on my way to office, I always drive past some banks, and I still find that some banks, the crowd there is something else.
it's quite appalling and so sad that Nigerians have to kill to that extent.
Yes.
I recall on Thursday, I went
Not
to
only kill, many people have died during this Naira redesign policy.
they have
Many
even
people
subject
died.
people to deep in
Nego,
poverty more. Many things has happened, but it's quite appalling that in our country you have your money, you cannot access your money. I remember Thursday when I got to the bank, they told me that my number is 407, and I now ask, so if they finish, they said they cannot do more than 150 in a day, so it will take me 3 days. Until then, the announcement came as well on Thursday too, that there will be they will be disbursing. And remember, I want to just recall that it is not the decision of CBN to make money available. So actually, the decision of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has said no, this cash must go hand in hand too. But for my findings, I also found out that as at Saturday, someone made me think that he was able to withdraw 68,000 naira. And I asked the person again,
Saturday.
are you sure of what you are saying? True bank. They were in bank. Bank was working Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
And I was asking him, are you sure of what you are saying? Because I recall that most banks will only pay 5,000 naira or at most 10,000 naira. But he said yes. And from look of things, I think he's going gradually. But before this thing could decide, some people also said they went to POS, and POS collected 200 naira for 5,000 naira.
Yes,
so that means things are getting better.
But somebody still said on monitor the radio program this morning that paid 100 naira to 1,000 naira.
100 naira to 1, that's still too bad. It's too bad. That's
then you're having about 100 naira to 1,000. That is 1,000 naira to 10,000.
I think CBN also need to bring up a mystery shopper or people that will monitor these people, because some people still want to take advantage of Nigeria. But to talk about this cash crunch in general, I think the conceptualization of the idea itself was bad conceived, and stakeholders are not considered at that point. You recall that even the Minister of Finance said, I'm not aware of this area and what have you. And people said they are not aware.
And of course, just like what we said, the Punch also has the same story on its cover. The Punch newspaper says, Ngige, Emefiele meets NLC over planned strike. Banks queues persist. Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, and the Governor Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, met the Nigerian Labour Congress delegation led by Joe Ajaero in Abuja on Monday. And of course, on the page of the Punch newspaper, you can see two pictures actually of Ngige Emefiele with meeting with Ajaero, and you can also see the picture of
I think
presiding over
Joe Ajaero just came in.
Yes.
And he wants his impact to be felt. That's number one.
But
and apart from that,
NSC,
but it's also carried out some threats and some caution and some actions. But you can't compare him to Joe Ajaero. While Joe Ajaero is talking, you will feel the vibe in him, and you can see that immediately he talks, there is a change already.
Oh yes.
CBN does not want to carry this, because it's about that if these people enter the street,
the CBN that was practically sitting on
they have to
people directed that banks should open.
Yes, Anko has to start meeting CBN and he said that there is money, because they knew that this new person would definitely perhaps it's also coming. The blood is still,
because what has happened. Like, do we still have
NLC
leadership in place?
And apart from that, they're not only talking about Naira, they're also talking about Fair Q.
Yes.
But I think they want to focus on Naira. So I want them to come up also, maybe by then they come up with something about fair issue. But Joe Ajaero that we know, we not want to, we want to put action in everything. And by that you put action, because most time NLC leadership in the past, especially recent one, are more of rhetorics. Come on TV and say we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this.
Joe Ajaero is almost like
Oshiomhole. It's more practical. It's more pragmatic.
Many alleged that he was selling behind.
But there was a difference that time. And Joe Ajaero, in fact, I want to welcome him.
And under him, then when NLC comes, the governor catches.
Yes, exactly. I want to say thank you to Joe Ajaero for this first step, because it makes a lot of meaning to us. They decide that no, we will not take it. This is how we do. CBN are now even imagine CBN that was just
standoffish,
and was not ready to even address Nigeria. Started saying we apologize, we do the, that was the language now. We apologize to Nigeria, things we get. He that does not want to do, You know, even after the pronouncement of Supreme Court,
Ajero
it
was
is not
quite directive. He said they are going to picket CBN.
CBN.
And I think
I like that
was,
approach. You know,
yes.
picketing is one of the first steps, you know, and inform them over time, you know,
Yes.
so I will not abuse any properly. So for me, Joe Ajero has come and start on a good note, and that good note really helps because Nigeria is feeling better because the issue of cash crunch is a big issue that have killed Nigeria economy. You know, let's even look at it economically. Now, this cash crunch has really reduced gross domestic product. Funny enough, they were thinking it will help what we call inflation. Look at the inflation, it's the reason because
Yes.
what brought about inflation in Nigeria is much more structural. You know, the issue of production. If you want to produce, you have energy problem, you know, fuel, you know, every other thing, gas, everything is expensive. Then another issue is issue of foreign exchange. You have not addressed all these fundamental issue. If insecurity is causing the problem, so
And
but,
you know, for the small enterprise, they lost so much.
so
in this
let me give you a good
we even saw
example.
some,
Let me give you a
viral
good example.
videos.
You have 10,000 naira to do business. So by the time you went and withdraw the 10,000 naira, they remove 2,000 naira. You are left with 8,000 naira. Maybe your profit is 500 naira. You have 8,500. You go ahead again. You know that means your money will reduce to 5,000. Before you know, I had somebody who was given a business seed so that I can start business 100,000. You know what I advised the person? He called me and said, I said, my brother, if I will advise, please don't do business now. Until this naira issue comes to normalcy. Because if you do it now, your money will disappear from you and you won't have money. And look at it now. You know, people have been subject to much more poverty. People that do buying and selling, you know, they cannot not be
We saw
collecting.
that video of somebody plantain sellers
Right.
from the plantain spoiled.
They
They just
spoil
saw
now.
where they threw them. That is in Lagos because people didn't have access to money.
Because you have to
to
like
pay
look for
this.
what you need, immediate need. And I had a very bad experience. I'm supposed to fly from Ibadan to Abuja. You know, there was flight delay, yes. But I decided to go to Lagos to fly from Lagos. For me to get cash, because I get it as, let me transfer to you. They said, no, I must get cash.
Yes.
Do you know I have to trade off about 4,000 for 10,000 because I want to go? And it was so appalling. I was in the city center with my children, this Abuja, we need common water. These children are shouting, they want to come. Do you know what? I had to drive to a super store to use ATM to buy water because we don't have cash.
And they will charge you on top.
I'm
Because
telling
most
you,
of
so
the
if we
POS
are feeling it in FCT like this, people in countryside, in different localities, how do you want them to feel? You know, it's quite saddening. And I think it's a wrong conceptualization of ideas. Some people say that they should, why shouldn't they sack? I say, well, I don't see reason why you should sack Emefiele because the chief executive himself, the president himself, is in support of the. He even came out and said it's only 200 naira that they can give. That the other ones we, you know.
So last week Thursday, I went to the bank. Yes,
Right.
it was on a Thursday, and after queuing for hours in the banking hall, we were giving them 2,000.
Imagine 2,000 naira after queuing.
After queuing
That's
for
the
hours.
conventional banks that.
Yes.
And another thing we must clarify is that the Central Bank of Nigeria is painting commercial bank bad. You know, we have engagement with commercial banks, but it's beyond their power to spend this money because CBN did not give them money to spend. You can see the later call that they should come and take the old cash.
What happened was that what many people speculate is that what happened was that at the beginning when this cash redesign policy started, that was in last year. Remember the CBN governor did say that money has been disbursed to all these banks. What really happened was that these same politicians they were trying to prevent from having access to money hijacked the whole process. So at the end of the day, there was no money. By January, when the deadline for the old notes ended, there was literally no money.
If you look at the essence of the policy
said
itself,
that the policy was a good one. It was the implementation that was where.
well, ideally you can bring new naira every 5 years for CBN. It's not bad, but you've not done it over time. And the thing is that you want to close everything within 3 months.
Yes.
You know, within 90 days.
Approach,
It was
yes.
too. Apart from that, it is even evident that CBN does not have enough new notes. It's clear now.
Oh yes.
That is the
Yes.
major thing. It is evidence that
And yet they wanted to keep
CBN does
Nigerians,
not have enough new notes. Because if you have new notes, there's no reason for you to go and bring old notes and tell people to be spending.
Yes.
So that means the idea itself it's not well conceived. Perhaps about billions of naira you collected to print this money.
Mm.
Where is this?
Yes,
And you are
that
saying
is
that
what
you
happened.
you print it in Nigeria, printing and minting will do that. That means it's not well conceived.
It's
But you
not.
know, you will recall that 1984, Buhari also bring this type of idea.
Yes.
And that's why I said people don't blame only Emefiele, because when you take such idea to the president and he gladly accept it, so you want, I recall that time to people are subject
It
to
was the
poverty.
same thing.
So now people are subject. So how do you now? My
Say that Thunder
question
has
now is
tried
that
2 times.
my question now is that how will federal government compensate people that they have ruined their business?
What about those that have died? Many died. I remember in Edo State, the banks, when they were setting and they were being fired at. We also saw that in Ogun and
Yes.
so many other places,
So-
Delta State and
So I think it's a big issue.
It is.
It's a big issue.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you same time next week.
All right.
Program.
Thanks.
So, viewers, this is where we end today's program. With me in the studio has been a political economist, Elias. Thank you so much. And my name is Winnie Felix, but don't forget, same time, same station tomorrow is another edition of the program. I'm Winnie Felix. See you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.